Binghamton Now with Bob Joseph. The latest news and views from around the Twin Tiers. Live and local on News Radio 1290 WNBF.
Radio 1290 WNBF. It's Thursday, February 6, 2014. I'm Bob Joseph. And this hour, I've been looking forward to this for a while. We will talk about high-volume hydraulic fracturing with two outspoken people on the issue. Vera Scroggins of Susquehanna County and Victor Furman of Broome County. They've both been on our program in the past. And today, for what I believe to be the first time, they're appearing in a live radio broadcast side by side in one studio to talk about fracking and some of the issues that have been debated over the last several years. So stick around. It's going to be a very interesting, lively hour on News Radio 1290 WNBF. 10:15. This is News Radio 1290 WNBF. I'm Bob Joseph, and this is a segment I've been looking forward to for several days, and I am so pleased to welcome to our broadcast Vera Scroggins and Vic Furman. Have you ever been in a radio studio together?
No, it's not legal in New York for us to be in the same room until this point.
No.
This may be a one-time only event. So today we're going to talk about high-volume hydraulic fracturing. First, I don't want to assume that everybody knows the background of each of you. I'd like you to take a moment to introduce yourselves. First, Vera Scroggins, you live in Susquehanna County. Tell us a little bit about yourself and why you're so interested in the issue of fracking.
Yes, I live in this county, Susquehanna County, which has been now invaded by the gas industry since 2008 and is being developed. And I live there, and I moved there 23 years ago to get away from development from the New York City area, from Long Island, and came here with my 3 kids and 5 cats. So I'm here seeing what's happening, what I escaped, even what I grew up with as a kid. I grew up in Elizabeth, New Jersey, next to Linden, and lived near the refineries there and had to deal with all the pollution from that besides other industry.
So at what point did you become active in the fracking issue in Susquehanna County?
I got involved just about from the beginning because I have friends in Dimmock, and one of my friends, Susan Roos, took me to one of the farms there. She showed me the Teal Farm and the Ely property, where they started drilling, and she showed me the drill rigs. And then she introduced me to some people who were having problems with their water. After that, let's say, I'm not sure what month it was, but it was after that. And when I saw the rigs, then I knew at that point that I have to do something, because I knew what that meant. Once industry comes into an area, then it just keeps expanding. So that was very disturbing when I saw that.
Vic Furman, you've been a longtime resident of Broome County. Tell us a little bit about yourself and your background and how you came to be very active in the issue of fracking.
Well, I was born and raised in Binghamton, and I did some time in the military. When I left the military, I came back to the area and didn't want to live in the city, so I bought a farm out in Chenango County, New York, at an auction. Another farmer going out of business. I got involved in 2005 when I got my very first letter to lease my property. I researched it just a little bit because back then it wasn't in the news. And when I saw that there was going to be truck and industrialization of my property, I said no. My very first gas meeting I ever went to was at the Unitarian Church on Riverside Drive as an IRAD member. Can't say I joined the membership, but I did go to the meeting. And the questionnaire they put in front of me, there was 15 questions, but you couldn't answer yes to any of them. Got me thinking there's got to be something wrong with this. I need to investigate what's going on. So I started researching things on the internet. I found out a lot of the things that were being said weren't true, or they weren't able to prove the facts behind what they were saying. So I started getting really involved in 2008 when I joined the Landowners Coalition. I actually started the coalition on Sapbush Road, the Sapbush Road Group, with Jim Ward, who's now deceased. From that point on, I started going to meetings on both sides of the issue and listening. I wasn't vocal until 2010 in the meetings. I didn't get elected to the Board of Trustees for the Joint Landowners Coalition until 2011. I've been very active. When Dimmock came out in the news, I took it upon myself to drive down to Dimmock and interview the residents of Dimmock. I interviewed everyone on Carter Hill and Masoppin Creek Road, except for the Sautner family, who refused to talk to me. I met a gentleman that lived on Masoppin Creek Road, which is just down the hill from the Sautner's home, Lauren Salzman, who was an environmental engineer, and he did say, yes, there was gas migration problems, but they've always had gas in the land, and the spike was due to a low methane biogenetic gas that was in the ground.
So, Vera, you've heard Vic on our program in the past and in other forums, and you know how strongly he feels about fracking and his belief that it can be done safely. You feel, I think, equally as strongly that it's fraught with problems, and you point to issues that you say have happened in your county, in Susquehanna County. What's your experience? And you also have had conversations with people in Dimmock, Carter Road. What is your perspective on what has happened in Susquehanna County over the last several years with development of the natural gas?
Well, I basically talk to people. I get to meet them. I ask for their test results. I ask for their experiences. They show me what they're going through. So I go right to the source. I'm not just getting information secondhand or thirdhand. I'm going to the people. So I've met about a dozen of the people in Carter Road and Masoppin Creek Road, and also State Road 3023, which is also part of the plume of migration, of methane migration. Besides methane, there's high heavy metals and radioactivity that's come through. So I've seen all of this, and I've met the people over the period of 5 years, interviewed them. They've given many interviews and talked to the other media, and then I've brought in all kinds of media to meet with them too. So, and I've seen what's happened to them and what they've had to deal with. And it's not just, Dimmock. Our county has other areas. There's the Lenox area east of Dimmock, which was pretty much the same time it started. We have two sections in Lenox that are also contaminated. There's Route 92 and Route 106. There's a whole group of homes. And they have water buffaloes, water replacement. Even to this point, we have people that are getting water replacement, but they don't have the publicity, and they're not talking as the Carter Road people. Then we have Franklin Forks, then we have Auburn. We have at least several sections in our county, and that's just one county out of about 40 counties that are being drilled in Pennsylvania, and then the other counties have all kinds of stories. And then I get phone calls from people, like I got a phone call even last night from Warren County, which is the northwest part of our state, calling in and talking about the water issues and the pollution and contamination from drilling there. So it's a very sad continuing story, and that I've had to deal with and to let the world know about.
Vic Furman, so are these reports and allegations and concerns about contamination that may be linked to fracking, are any of them, in your opinion, legitimate?
Bob, we're very concerned about water contamination and well readings on contamination and TOCs. The metals that Vera is talking about are naturally occurring metals that are already in the ground that may have been agitated to increase their levels of contamination, or whatever you want to call it. I don't want to use the word contamination, but it's because the gas did migrate into the low biogenic gas did migrate into some of the wells. But let me explain something about water contamination going on in like Franklin Forks, for instance. In 1990, there was a trailer park that was closed down because they had the same levels of methane that is now being reported in the Manning family well. They were at 86.4. This was back in 1990, before any wells were drilled in that area. They closed that trailer park. Now, when you live near Salt Springs, which is Manning family is 2 miles from Salt Springs, where you can go and light the water on fire, and have been able to do so since the 1700s, you're going to have methane in your water. New York State just did a study where I believe it was 15% of all the water wells they tested were volatile. They actually had more methane in them, so much methane in them they had to be mitigated, and they were at explosive levels. And that's nowhere near a drill site. So methane in this area is very common. It migrates very commonly into water wells. I have sulfur in my water. The next thing that come up is methane.
So have the gas companies been responsible for any contamination of anybody's water since they began doing work in Susquehanna and Bradford counties?
Well, let me answer that in a short answer.
Well, a short answer first. I'll let you elaborate, but yes or no?
Well, I'm going to say yes, they have been, but not because of fracking. Gas companies have had accidents where they did surface spills. There was an infamous well blowout in Pennsylvania where the Christmas tree failed and it blew water, frack water all over the ground. But even after that happened, when they tested it, supposedly millions of gallons of frack water came back up. They tested the ground. They started testing it right away. There was no fish killed. There was no contamination to the ground. No animals died. No birds died. As far as are they responsible? But let me ask you this. Vera mentioned they bring water buffaloes. They do that just based on the accusation. They don't do it as an admission of guilt, as an admission of wrongdoing. They bring them water buffaloes because they require that of themselves to make sure they're good neighbors if there is a problem. And many people in Pennsylvania are finding out they have pre-existing problems thanks to drilling because Pennsylvania never mitigated or put out standards for drilling a water well. For instance, the Sautners had their water well was below their septic system, and when they tested it, the reason the guy wouldn't drink the water when he said the water had no frack chemicals in it is because it had leachate from their septic system in it.
So you're suggesting some people in Susquehanna and Bradford counties should be thankful that the gas companies came in and discovered pre-existing problems.
Sure. If you look at the people in Pennsylvania, they just did a survey, a statewide survey in Pennsylvania. 68% of the people in Pennsylvania are in favor of natural gas drilling. Only 37% of them.
That's not the survey I heard. I heard the opposite.
Vera, when you have the mic, I won't interrupt you. 37.
Although there can be some interaction. I don't want this to be a formal debate. So, I don't want to turn it into a world wrestling event either.
Right. Well, 68% of the people on a statewide survey were in favor of fracking. And to be honest, 37% of them said they were worried about environmental hazards. But with those numbers in, and with Pennsylvania, it was just in the Philadelphia Inquirer 3 days ago, where there's 29,920 direct labor jobs at gas drilling, over 200,000 indirect, and that includes clerks, road construction crews, surveyors, and all gas supporting business. Now, they talk about it being a boom to bust, but this is a report on the 2013 survey of laborers and people who have jobs in Pennsylvania, thanks to natural gas drilling. And it's phenomenal.
And that's why our unemployment rate is higher now. We have a 7.2% high rate of
Not
unemployment.
Not in Bradford and Susquehanna counties. That's statewide.
I'm talking about Susquehanna County. And it started at 4.3 before fracking started, and now we're up to 7.2. So much for all of the employment opportunities that they give us. And most of the people that come in are employed, or they're coming in from out of the area. That's the people that I meet. They're mostly from out of the area, not our local people. And I'd like to say that the DEP has found that Cabot is guilty of contaminating a couple of dozen wells. They said that they were guilty. They said that gas drilling was responsible. And right now, it's mostly...
There's a difference between contamination and gas migration.
It's not just gas
migration.
No, they didn't.
Not frac fluid contamination.
I didn't say frac fluid contamination. I said a contamination of methane migration, heavy metals that are above the allowable limits, and that's what they found besides radioactivity and other things. So the gas drilling is a problem, and it's throughout our state. We have 161 determination letters from the DEP for our state since 2008. And it says gas drilling is responsible. Lenox area also, gas drilling is responsible. They have determination letters there. We even have the superintendent of the Mountain View School District. His water was contaminated, and he's still under replacement water. And I asked him to speak and talk to the media, and he wouldn't do it. Most people don't even want to speak. They don't want to talk about their contamination. I mean, a lot of people who are contaminated, the water has changed. They can't drink it anymore. They can't even bathe in it, and because of what it does to the skin, the rashes and all, and they're afraid to speak. They don't want to have the DEP come in. They don't want the gas companies to deal with them. They don't want to lose their royalty checks, the little royalty checks that they're getting, which are now plummeting now since the past 5 years. So whatever they think they're going to get in New York, it doesn't last because the wells go less and less in gas. The production goes down. Right now we're down to a quarter to 1/3 of production on the 5-year wells.
We'll continue our conversation with Vera Scroggins and Vic Furman in just a moment here on News Radio 1290 WNBF.
You're listening to Binghamton Now with Bob Joseph on News Radio 1290 WNBF. Follow Binghamton Now on Twitter at Binghamton Now.
It's Binghamton Now. We're live and local on a Thursday morning. Our guest in the studio, Vic Furman and Vera Scroggins. We're talking fracking. Before we continue, if people would like more information or like to contact either of our guests, Vic, I know you have a website that you would like to reference.
It's NYROD/R. That's New York residents advocating for our development. And I'd like to say that...
Do you want to give an email address too?
No, the email and everything's on the website.
Okay, again, the website for people who want to write that down
is NYROD/R, or a better website would just be go to jlcny.org.
Okay, that's the Joint Landowners Coalition. Vera, you wanted to make reference to a website that has some additional information.
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure of the words, but it's Damascus Citizens for Sustainability. If you look that up, that has the best information that I've seen, what's happening in our state, and with all kinds of documents and proof about all the problems that we're having. And then you can use my email, too, if you want to. It's veradurga@yahoo.com, and that's V like in Victor, E-R-A, and then D like in David, U-E-R-G-A @yahoo.com.
Vera, you mentioned some people in Susquehanna County and Bradford County are afraid to speak out. Why are they afraid?
Well, we have a handful of us that are willing to speak, because the ones who are speaking, we don't have jobs to protect. Most of us are retired, and we don't have to worry about our self-image. We're older. So the others have jobs to be concerned about. They also have their neighbors to be concerned about. We get a lot of flack from our neighbors for speaking up against the industry. So they don't want to go through that. They saw what happened to the people in Dimmock, all of the maligning, all of the negative words spoken to them, all of the denigration that happened to them from their neighbors and from those people who are outside of our county. We're written about on a regular basis, especially with EID, Energy in Depth. They write against anybody who's an activist or a concerned citizen who speaks out, and they say horrible things about us, and they don't just stick to the issues. They don't just talk about what's happening. They just want to defame and denigrate us, and this is something people don't want to go through. It takes a lot to go through this.
You say there's flack. Are there ever any threats?
Yes, there's been threats. Some of our members have gotten death threats on the phone. They've had their animals. We've had dogs killed on properties. We've had tires slashed on properties. We've had even a dead goose that was thrown, which was so disgusting. I saw this myself driving up to a member's home, and there was a dead goose in front of the house on the street, and indicating, of course, you know what that means. You're a dead duck. So it's sickening, the things that are going on. The division in our community and the division in our county since gas drilling is super, super thick. It's a lot of tension, people, a lot of distrust, those who are for, those who are against, those who are in the middle. So it's been a very difficult 5 years to see what's happened to us. We didn't have any of that before gas drilling came in.
Vic, you've been a high-profile supporter of fracking.
Yes,
over the years. Have you ever been the target of so-called flack or threats? What's the response been? Has it been uniformly favorable?
Well, you know, I've had gunshots go off outside of my house. So I didn't call the police. The neighbors did. There is police reports on it. I don't know if Vera has any police reports, but I do. I've had in my mailbox, somebody tied a chain to my mailbox, which was a $350 mailbox, dragged it out of the ground and threw it in my yard. I've had signs run over by automobiles where I had to go out and put spikes in my yard to keep the cars off my yard because I have 1,800 foot of road frontage, and they just were driving down, knocking down my pro-gas signs. But to make these kind of accusations that there are people in Pennsylvania are at each other's throats, that's conspiracy stuff. Let's get Mel Gibson to make a movie about this stuff because it's simply not true. Anybody who's creating a discourse on this debate, it's the antis themselves by going out and they're spreading this fear. They're using fear-mongering to scare people into thinking that all this stuff is happening. And it's not all happening. It's not true.
This is my personal experience, and I'm talking from my personal experience, Vic. So this is what I have to go through. My family has to go through. My children have to go through. They have to go through all of this. This is what we're living through. So you can deny. You can deny what you want.
People are going to get angry because they're tired of. Look at Dimmock Proud was created because of you, and I'm willing to say that they were created because they were sick and tired of you going out there and bad mouthing and driving their town into the ground
I'm not
by making all these
anything.
false accusations about widespread pollution from the drilling industry.
Right.
And it's simply not true. If it were true, it would be on the national news on a daily basis.
It is on the national
news. No, it's not on the national news. The only news that plays it is Channel 12.
Well, I'm
Channel
grateful,
40,
and
Fox
I'm grateful
40. Fox 40 is my favorite channel.
For the internet and all the media that's covered us for the past 5 years, and it's all kinds of media.
Well, if I had Yoko Ono coming out with me on tours, on world tours, then yeah, I'd probably be in the news too. And if it weren't for Yoko Ono and Mark Ruffalo and your stars that you get to come with you on these tours, you would have nobody. You would have no media coverage at all because
I have
the
EPA,
we've
had
the
a whole
DEP,
group of senators
everybody tested all those claims of water pollution that you give and found that there was no such thing. The only thing they ever found was migrating gas in a well. They never found the chemicals. Barium and strontium are the heavy metals that you're mentioning, but not naming, are naturally occurring in the rock formations in this area. And they rise with levels, with the droughts and the rainstorms. They'll rise and they'll succeed naturally. Nature mitigates itself.
Well, nothing has gone lower because they've been testing these properties over and over again. We've had many tests, and they're still above the levels that are allowable. And right now
What's above the levels? Methane.
Heavy metals.
Over this. No,
heavy metals
no,
also.
That's not true, Vera. That's
well,
not true.
I have the test results and I have the documents.
Where are they?
And
I'll let you bring them out. I want to see them.
Yeah, well then you come over and I'll show them to you.
No, I don't want to see documents from 2008. I want to see the updated documents.
I'm talking about there are documents that are updated.
You're your own worst enemy. That video you put out when you showed up at the Manning's family when the wall was erupting, you would not let WPX do their job. You kept interfering with them. You kept asking them, what are you doing? Why could natural gas be doing that? And the guy told you over and over again that there was a bare wire and that it was a mechanical problem in the pump. And you wouldn't let it go. The Mannings were there trying to work with the WPX, and you showed up with your video camera. Your very first video says, get a lawyer. You can make money off of this.
No, I didn't say that. You misquote me as usual.
Yeah.
And I told them to contact their lawyer. They already had a lawyer.
Why did you need to go to the Manning family and tell them anything? They were working with the gas company.
No, they weren't.
Mrs. Manning seems like a very articulate lady.
Because I know her.
She can speak for herself. She doesn't need you. You're an activist, Vera. Your job is to get out there in a community and create this discourse toward the industry, the big bad gas industry, which, by the way, provided you heat last night in your home and got you here today.
Anyway, as far as the media is able to show the world what is going on, and I've had senators come, groups of senators from New York, and that's why New York is closed. It's going to stay closed, Vic. With all of your activity, with all of your knowledge, supposed knowledge, and all of your information, and everything that you negate that we say, you still can't open the borders of New York.
No, I can't. That's up to our defunct Governor Cuomo. Now, isn't it amazing how Dr. Shah can legalize marijuana? In just a few weeks, he can do all these health studies on marijuana.
Because marijuana is not as dangerous as fracking.
Marijuana is not as dangerous. There's studies all over from universities all over the country.
Marijuana is not as dangerous as fracking.
It has 50 different carcinogenic chemicals in a marijuana joint. 50 carcinogenic chemicals in a marijuana joint. But yet we can legalize marijuana in this country, and apparently they already legalized it in PA.
Well, they need to legalize it, and that's fine. It's an herb.
You know,
It's a plant.
You know, but the issue here is natural gas, and my point
The issue is natural gas. That's right.
My point here
or
is
shale gas.
We have a government in New York State that is defunct.
And you can't open the borders, no matter what you do, no matter what you say, Vic. So
it's not up to me to open the border. Vera, I agree with you.
They don't believe you.
The borders are not closed.
They don't believe you.
The borders are on hold.
The governor doesn't believe you.
The governor doesn't believe me.
No, they don't.
I haven't talked to the governor, Vera. Have you talked to the governor?
No, I haven't. I personally haven't talked.
What's there to believe and not believe?
First of all,
no, Vera,
they are not believing your organization.
Right, then why haven't they come right out and said, okay, we're not going to frack? Why haven't they done it? Natural gas is cleaning the environment.
New York will continue to be closed. Nothing will open this state. There's too many people against it.
Science will open this state.
We have loads of science.
And the necessity will open this state.
Governor Cuomo says he'll leave it up to the science.
That's right. We have loads of science.
And he is leaving it up to the science.
And we have peer-reviewed, hundreds of articles peer-reviewed to show that this is a dangerous practice and that it's a disaster happening.
Name one peer-review article, just one, that says it's a dangerous practice.
Contact Tony Ingraffia. He will tell you.
Tony Ingraffia, he's paid by the Park Foundation to go on the circuit and debate.
You will negate anything that we say means nothing. Anybody that we say.
That's what we're here for, to debate, to get the truth out.
The truth is, go look up the peer-reviewed articles, talk to the scientists, talk to Anthony Ingraffia.
Yeah,
and talk to Sandra Steingraber, and you will get all the information you need.
Hallworth and Ingraffia were peer-reviewed by Cornell University, where they both work, and the peer review of their review said that they were totally wrong.
Come to my county, and I'll show you the harms. I'll show you all the people that have to struggle with water and with the air also. We have dozens of compressor stations emitting dozens of toxins every day, by the tons that are allowed by law, and we have to breathe that now. Now our air quality has gotten worse.
The DEP, the EPA, and the United States Geological Society all acted on those complaints and all found that the levels were far below what you say they were.
They were not far below.
Yes,
that's your words. You always have your own words, your own interpretation.
I have the science
We
on
have
my
to
side.
live with it. You have no science. You don't even know what science is. First of all, we have to live with it. We live in the neighborhoods. I have to hear the people. I have to see the nosebleeds. I've experienced it.
Nosebleeds.
We have to have the breathing experiences.
Now, Calvin Tillman,
I have to talk to the people. I have to listen to them. Come and see the people. That's who I bring the senators to.
Yeah.
I bring the senators to see all the harms, and they are convinced. You are not able to show them the harm, so they're not convinced about you.
Vera Scroggins, let's talk about the tours that you have been giving in Susquehanna County, and obviously energy companies are not particularly impressed with that. Tell us what's happened. First of all, give us an overview of the people you have shown around to various drilling sites, why you started doing that, and then what has happened most recently.
Well, I've been showing since 2009. I started my tours. People just asked me, and because they knew I was visiting the sites and videotaping and photographing them. And whenever I saw anything that didn't look right to me, I would call the DEP, and they came by, and usually they found a violation. Cabot is up to 520 violations in 5 years just in our county, and millions in fines. So if they know what they're doing, and if everything is hunky-dory, why are so many violations and so many fines? And they're still having them.
The violations are things like a gas cap off a gas can. Cigarettes
I show people, and I show them. They ask me, so it's been farmers, citizens, elected officials, senators, representatives from New York, from other areas, and then people from all over the world. All different countries come in here, and they look and they see what the gas company is not showing them. They do go sometimes to the gas tours with the gas company.
What training have you had to give these tours?
And when I come and show them, I show them the harmed. I show them my neighbors. I show them people that I've met personally. I say, see what they have to live with since gas drilling. See what it's like. Hear the noise. Look what's next to the homes within 500 feet, 300 feet. Do you want to live next to this? Do you want this in your neighborhoods? Do you want gas pads every quarter to a half a mile apart along your roads, along your country roads?
That's a fabrication.
And then do you have, do you want dozens of compressor stations spewing out their tons of toxins, and that you have to hear them, the blowdowns, and then smell them, and then feel the vibration in your homes? Do you want this for your children, for your families? And who would want to live next to this? It's very simple. You don't need to have much of information, even just show them. Here, look at it, see what it is, take your pictures, and do you want this in your neighborhood? If you don't, then do something about it. Don't allow it. This is a finite form of energy. This is an energy that's going to run out soon enough. And we're putting holes by the thousands, the hundreds of thousands all over our country and the planet so that we can get this energy, this fossil fuel energy. And then might as well go for renewables that are infinite, that's sun, wind, water, and be able to use that. And that's not going to pollute or contaminate us or increase the cancer rate. We're up to 200 cancers right now since I was a kid.
Vic, one moment,
and
please.
And the asthma rate keeps going higher and higher. We're polluting the planet, not only with this industry, but many other industries, too. We have to stop. We have to start taking care of ourselves.
So you've been given these tours. The companies, one company in particular has reacted. They don't want you to be giving any more tours. Bring us up to speed what's happened in recent weeks.
Now, this is since October 21st, Cabot Oil and Gas, which has the most violations, has drilled the most wells in our county, and has leased the most land, up to 40% of our county, has gone to court to seek an injunction, which is a restraining order to keep me off of their properties, because I've been showing their properties mostly from the road. Every now and then I've gone on their properties to show what's happening with the people that are with me, and now they want to keep me completely off every single inch of Cabot leased or owned properties. That's up to 40% of my county. So that means I can't even visit homes, the homes that are in the properties, the barns, the garages, the businesses, the school districts. There's 3 school districts that are leased to Cabot. I can't go to my friends. I can't go to my mechanic. I can't go to the businesses along 706.
Hogwash.
I can't go to the hospital. They're all leased to Cabot, and that's under the court order, and I can show anybody. I send out the copies of the court order to anyone, and you can see what's there. So now I have an attorney, and then October 22nd, Judge Siemens listened to 4 hours of testimony from both sides, and he decided to grant Cabot the injunction. It's a temporary injunction. So now we're fighting to vacate the... We're fighting to vacate the order, and now they want a permanent order. But now I have the ACLU from Pittsburgh that wants to come on board. I have Public Citizen, the Ralph Nader group that wants to come on board because they know this is such a violation of civil rights and landowner rights, because Cabot is saying that we make the decision who can be on the property. And I said, well, how about the landowners? They own the property. They say, some of them say I can be on the property. Can they say that? No, Cabot wants to have the final word. So that's what you're going to face. That's what you're going to find when the gas company takes over a county. Your civil rights start to be at risk.
Vic?
All right, I didn't interrupt you. Now, don't interrupt me. Vera is absolutely right. There was an injunction put on against her on entering Cabot well drilling sites. Now, it wasn't Cabot that said that she couldn't go on her friends' properties or to her banks. It was a judge who put out a general restraining order. Now, I talked on the phone with Bill DeRosa, who is, because I knew this was going to come up, who is, and this is being recorded, so this can be verified. I talked with Bill DeRosa about this injunction order against Vera. He said the reason they saw out an injunction order was because Vera was showing up unannounced with tours with people without safety glasses, without hard hats, without steel-toed shoes, going on construction sites, interrupting the people, giving them false information, and disrupting the whole process itself. They were concerned about the safety of the people who showed up. So they said, don't come on our sites. They went to court to get her because she kept trespassing, even asked her not to come onto the site. She kept coming onto the site saying it's her right as a citizen of PA. She even went so far as to say the DEP gave her permission, which was totally untrue. Now,
I've never said that. That's your story. I've never said that. That's Bill DeRosa's lies, like usual.
Bill DeRosa's not the one that said that. It's right on your own blog.
I've never said that.
Here's the problem with this. When they came out and gave this injunction against Vera, the judge he just said he gave it a general order. And general order sometimes includes things that he shouldn't include. Now, Bill DeRosa is working to make sure that Vera can go to her doctors, to her hospital, and things like that.
He's never contacted me, Bill DeRosa.
Did you call him? I did.
Why should I call him? He can call me.
Because you're the one with the problem, not me. I just wanted to verify your problem, Vera.
No, I got the court order. You don't. I have an injunction. You don't.
No,
I have the copy.
The problem is Bill agrees that Vera should be able to go to her hospital, her bank, her school, and everything else, but they don't want her on the construction site. And the other flip side of that coin is Only because of safety reasons, not because they're hiding anything. But if you watch Vera's tours where she brings a black legislator from the Bronx on one of Cabot's Well tours, the gentleman in the video, Vera's own video, points at the water separator tank and asks Vera, "What's that?" And she goes, "Well, that's a chemical holding tank." When it wasn't. It was a water separator. So she's given these tours where she absolutely has no training, no education, other than her own activism, the education she got through her own activism, which is 90% false. So people in this state, New York State,
why aren't you getting an injunction against me personally? Why don't you
realize that when you're looking at this debate, you have to get off the computer don't get off the computer. Just get off of negative sites. If you go on the NIRAD, if you go on the Mountain Keepers, or any of them websites, they're all against gas drilling. And the information you find there is all going to be about why we shouldn't drill. But if you go on the government sites, if you go on the scholarship sites of universities, you will see that gas drilling has made America, just like the president said, the leader in reducing their carbon footprint. The air is getting better. Now, the other day they had a debate in Cornell University. Sandra Steigengraber came out and said, all they're doing by drilling gas in the suburban areas is rerouting the pollution from the urban to suburban. And then because the winds blow from west to east, it blows right back to the urban areas anyway. And that's why we shouldn't be drilling natural gas. Well, let me answer that, Sandra Steigengraber. You're fighting liquefied natural gas, LGN. You're fighting against the storage of it in the United States. You've been put in jail on it. We got companies right here that just put 500 of their trucks, the food delivery company here in Binghamton on Conklin Avenue, I can't remember the name of them, just converted 500 of their trucks to natural gas. Now, Bob, I don't know about you, but if you ever been behind a diesel truck in the summertime with the air conditioner on and you got stopped at a stoplight, you turn it off because diesel stinks. It has a lot of particulate. Natural gas cleans that up by 95%. Now, the gas companies are already converting to natural gas compressor stations, natural gas compressors, which create the pressure.
Well, that's why you can talk. You don't have it near your home. You don't have it near your children.
I have it near my home, Vera. I'm 20 miles from the border. I'm talking about
you don't have it within 1,000 feet of your home. You don't have it next to your house.
I have a gas well right up behind my house, a Norris Energy gas well.
You don't have the new wells. The new wells since 2008, you don't have next to your home. You don't see your children with nosebleeds. You don't see your children having breathing attacks.
Vera.
You don't have to see that. You don't have to smell it. You don't have to go through all that. So I'm glad you don't have to suffer like all of us out here.
Calvin Tillman, the mayor of Dish, Texas.
I'm not talking about Calvin. I'm talking about our own county. There's no rumors because we are experiencing it. And we've called the health department and reported it.
Let's go to harm and read that. We'll talk about nosebleeds.
Well, when it happens to you and your kids and your grandkids, then maybe you might talk. Right now, when you go through what we're going through, when we can't drink our water and you can't drink it, when you can't drink your water and you can't breathe and your children have asthma and your children are sick and your grandchildren and other people, and then the cancer rate goes even higher.
13,000 New York City children a year get asthma from burning coal.
And it's on the rise.
From burning coal.
It keeps going higher
from
and
burning
higher.
coal.
No,
coal
from all kinds of industries. We had asthma in our area from the
heavy oil
drilling.
particulates from burning oil furnaces in New York City. And now they're converting, your own Yoko Ono just converted her 8,000 square foot apartment building in the Dakota building to natural gas. She also converted her
First of all,
to natural gas. But yet she's against it. No.
She doesn't own the whole building.
The fact, but it's converted, right? It's converted.
She doesn't own the whole building.
If she's so against it, move out. Stand up for what you believe in. If you don't believe in natural gas, go home and turn off your electric lights. Go home and turn off your heat source. Get off the oil because
I've gotten off the oil. I've gotten off oil and gas.
Bob, not yesterday, 2 days ago, because I knew this debate was coming, I came down here, I rode up to the 18th floor of the State Office building. Stayed outside of Judge Levis's office on the 18th floor.
He's so amazing.
And I looked out the window. I did not see one solar panel or one windmill from the highest building in Broome County. Not one.
Well,
and the only one that I know of is Unitarian Church. Actually, you're right. They're coming. They're coming. One home every 4 minutes.
No, it's going to be more than that. If we have a national plan and the government promotes it, and the state government promotes it, and it's a main national plan, and this is going to be focused on, we will have it all over the place.
The government already said.
and since they're not subsidized to the extent of the industry, the fossil fuel industry, that's why we're not seeing as much of it. But we will see more of it. And New York will still be closed, Vic, no matter what you say. It'll never be opened. It'll never be open. New York is going to open. Why hasn't it? 5 years. The science proves that it won't be open. You have too many scientists against it, too many educated people against it.
Nothing to do with science.
It's politics. It's not politics.
It's pure politics.
It's education.
The governor promised 5 different times that he was going to open it in New York State, and Kennedy changed his mind.
Keep waiting. You have to move to Pennsylvania. You just have to move to Pennsylvania.
That's because 68% of the people in the state that you're
from, the survey I saw, 62% against.
Approve of drilling.
I saw 68% against. Look it up on the
Environmental Defense Fund, in conjunction with Texas University, just did a study of 161 wells and found no fracking contamination on any of them.
We're almost out of time.
We're talking about gas drilling, flawed process, and bad casings. Right now, they're trying to fix a casing in Dimmock since February. It's 1 year on Route 3023. Come and see it. Come and see the repair rig. They've been working on it. Millions have been poured to fix the bad casing.
Watch the world news.
There's more leaking methane in our area, and there's more heavy metals, and more people can't drink their water in Dimmock. 9 square miles is off the limits still because the DEP says, Cabot, you cannot drill. You're banned. Cabot is also banned. Besides me, Cabot is banned from 9 square miles. They can't drill for 3 years now. And it'll be even longer.
Vera Scroggins and Vic Furman, thank you both for coming to the studio. We only have a few precious seconds left. So, Vic, I have to ask you a question. Do you think anybody's mind will be changed on this issue, whether they hear from you or anybody else after all these years of discussion in the Southern Tier?
Quite honestly, Bob, I think that the people who are listening to the show right now, their minds are already made up one way or the other. And I'm happy to say that due to the recent survey polls being done in New York, that New York is in favor of gas drilling. There's been polls coming out saying they're not in favor of it, but when you take the demographics of where them polls are taken, it makes a great big difference.
Vera Scroggins, do you think anybody's going to change their mind?
I think those who are in the middle, who might be on the fence, may change their minds. And if you want to see for yourself, come on a tour either with me or other people in my county, and we'll show it to you. And all you got to do is look at it and talk to the people, and you'll see what's really happening and that what the pro-gassers are not telling you and what the industry is not telling you because they don't show this on their tours.
Vera Scroggins, Vic Furman, my thanks to each of you for being with us. It's unprecedented. I don't know that it'll ever happen again.
Oh, I'd be happy to debate anybody in the anti-side, including Steingraber and Graffia. I asked Tony Graffia when he did his speech in Elmira Heights area, how come he was speaking out against natural gas when he fracturing when he taught it for 50 years or 30 years, excuse me. And he said because he was supplementing his retirement income. So there's your motive right there.
And Vera, sure. I thank you. We're down to just a few seconds.
You.
News is coming up next. We might have you back.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Thanks for the time. And everybody just come on out and see for yourselves and talk to people who are hurt.
I thank each of you for joining us. The news is next, and then the third hour of Binghamton Now on News Radio 1290.
Inside our WNBF studios powered by Bartholomew's Car Care Center, we're serious.